Hello everyone. As I've mentioned before, the idea that a moral system must include a deity annoys me. I've got the moral system, but no belief in a deity. So what I'm going to do over the next week or so is outline the moral framework I have and the decisions and questions that have come out of it. After I describe the criteria for what I'm setting out to do and not do, then I have a favor to ask of you before getting down to the dirty work. First, what is a moral framework to me? Simply put, I believe it is a method of describing our relationship with the universe, including our relationships with each other, perhaps especially that. Also, a way of describing how to make value judgments about the actions we take. Beyond that, there are 6 requirements that I have for a moral framework which, though they may not be all-inclusive, are at least a starting point. 1. It must be internally and externally consistent. If the moral framework isn't harmonious with the larger reality, it's useless. 2. It cannot avoid the fact of the limitations on our understanding and the implications that has for responsibility. Ignorance doesn't excuse destructive actions, but a moral framework that does not take these limitations into account and provide at least some guidance cannot be counted on in a crisis. 3. It must have a basis in our knowledge of what human beings are. Without a basis in an understanding of human beings, a framework for morality only accidentally has anything to do with us. 4. It must be adaptable to some degree. If it doesn't recognize the changing nature of our culture, our environment, and our self-knowledge, then if it isn't useless now, it will eventually become so. 5. It must explain why human beings have different moral systems and yet explain why some moral structures are fairly common. A way to approach or at least survive the collision of 2 opposing moral systems would be nice, but that would be for extra credit. Now for the list of what I am not attempting to do. First, I am not trying to provide one-size-fits-all answers, which you probably guessed from the criteria above. Second, I'm not trying to provide eternal or even definite answers necessarily. My understanding of the universe is not everyone's, and I can't expect to communicate it completely, if at all. What I can communicate is the moral framework that understanding works within. Third, I'm not trying to make decisions for anyone but myself, or create a reference for anything but my own decisions and actions. If someone else adopts this in whole or in part, great. Just remember that you'll get what you deserve if you don't apply your own understanding to it. If they don't, I will still have the code that I live by. 4. I'm not trying to write the 10 Commandments of secularism. Again, this is what I can communicate of my framework for making decisions, and it's probably not even a unique one. 5. I'm not trying to create something timeless. It's as universally applicable as I can make it, but it is mine, and therefore it is not only a product of my mind and its limitations, it is also partially a product of the cultures that I have been exposed to during my life. Now for what I hope for from you. Far more than presenting my moral framework to the world, I want it to be tested, and the broken parts discarded and replaced with workable ones. If this means the entire structure must be scrapped and I need to start over again, so be it. I promise you that what I want is to learn and grow stronger as a person, rather than pretend to myself that I've done something I haven't. So in response to what I'll be releasing, I ask you to comment on it, respond to it, test it, pass it on, and call it like you see it. I know this is the internet, and I know I might have to sift through a great deal of abuse, but to use an old phrase, I knew the job was dangerous when I took it. Besides which, I have a certain respect for trolls, mostly because I am one myself. Oh, and to the flaggers and other idiots out there who think that freedom of speech means the right to shout down opinions you don't like. Right now, this is a relaxed, quiet, contemplative thing for me. Do you really, really want to motivate me to use every tool at my disposal to spread this? Or would you rather have it in one place you can see? Either way, I'll enjoy myself. You can count on that. I'll be releasing the first part tomorrow night, and I hope to see and hear your responses. Thank you for your time and attention.